Welcome fans and foes, viewers and haters. I'm your raging Canadian and here's today's review. Alright, I'll admit, I've come across movie trailers a bit harshly in my previous reviews and I've judged books by the cover. So today, I'm just going to go with what I can estimate and hypothesize for this movie with the evidence I'm given. So without further ado, let's look at Sweet Mother of Jehoshaphat! The Iron Man 2 trailer has landed! I enjoyed the first Iron Man movie when I saw it, and I thought that Robert Downey Jr. was the perfect guy to play Tony Stark. After I saw The Dark Knight, however, I started to feel a little less enthusiastic about Iron Man's upcoming sequel, but it was still something I wanted to check out. With the sequel, there's very little story information to go for the film, and this is really a teaser trailer, so like I said, we're just gonna have to go with what we've got and let our imaginations guide us. The trailer begins with Tony Stark at a government courtroom where the army is demanding that he hand over the Iron Man suit. Of course, through a dash of sarcasm and a pinch of ego, Tony refuses to give them the suit and states that because of his efforts, he has privatized world peace. The thing I enjoy about this scene is that Tony may have changed his perspective on life and his priorities, but he still has the same suave, party boy, man on top of the world demeanor. It's that attitude and snarkiness that the audience loves about him, but when he needs to be, he can cut the fun stuff and get downright serious. Next we see Tony making probably the mother of all party entrances after jumping out of a plane, landing on a stage wearing the Iron Man suit in front of a dozen hot girls. It seems that Tony is actually handling this whole I am Iron Man thing pretty well. He's not going through the whole classic identity crisis like most superhero sequels do. The only thing that's probably on his mind is, woo! I just fell 3,000 feet! Break out the vodka! So just when Tony's life seems to be at its highest, which is saying a lot for a guy like him, the film's villain Ivan Vanko has been watching him from the shadows and been developing an Iron Man-like suit of his own. First off, out of the few short lines out of him, Mickey Rourke handles a Russian accent very nicely, and the character feels like an almost total oppositional figure to Stark. Tony Stark is a guy who was probably born with everything except a virgin birth, and judging by the environment around him, Ivan Vanko seems to be a man who didn't have such a fortunate upbringing. You almost have a whole social class dynamic here, with the wealthy fighting against the average man. Secondly, this scene brings in something that the first movie's promotional material lacked: dark emotion and suspense. Most of the scenes with Ivan Vanko are intimidating, leaving the audience with the impression that this guy means business. The overall rock and roll party style that seems to be predominant in the Iron Man franchise works well, but that doesn't mean you can't have feelings of raw fear come after it. Anyway, Vanko promises there will be blood in the water and the sharks will come. As this plays out, Tony's shown looking at his... well, I don't remember what they actually named it, so let's just call it the doohickey. No, not that kind of doohickey. We can see that it's been affecting his body and that the device has been spreading its energy throughout his chest. Ah, see? You should have had some antivirus software installed before you popped that sucker in. So I suppose the subplot here is that the device is damaging his body and that Tony has to find a way to fight it, bringing in the conflict of man against machine. After that, we see a couple glimpses of new characters like Justin Hammer, another film antagonist, Black Widow, a Russian S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and Don Cheadle as the new face to the old character of Jimmy Rhodes. Then we get our first action scene where Ivan Vanko dons his own version of the Iron Man suit as the supervillain Whiplash, using electric whips that manage to cut through a race car that Tony's driving. We see that Iron Man has accepted Whiplash's challenge and aerial fight scenes and exploding cars are followed. After the film title, we see a brief glimpse of Tony Stark donning his Iron Man armor and Jimmy Rhodes donning his War Machine armor to fight what seemed to be an army of ironmongers. Yeah, that's what you get for killing off Jeff Bridges. Every time he dies, more of them just come back. You shouldn't have messed with the dude! So with all the hype about War Machine, I think the filmmakers were able to differentiate him from Iron Man when it came to their action scenes together. Iron Man is more of a point and shoot kind of guy, whereas War Machine is, well, how do I put this? A freaking war machine! I'd have to say that Iron Man 2 looks like it's well on track. They've increased suspense for the audience, used good choices of music that fit the theme in every scene, and the new cast looks like they're doing a great job with their roles. My trailer rating? A 7 out of 10.